Alright, so we've got another interview back, and this is Dave Leverett, and he runs the recycling down in Bozeman, so if we have recycling, it goes down to Bozeman. Let's get started.
Okay.
How did the idea of recycling business come about?
Well, I lived up here in Big Sky. I was a 21-year-old ski bum, and I was wandering around at night and had a job that I had lots of spare time at up at the resort, so I could ski during the day. And I saw all the waste from the recycling up at the resort. And so I went in and sat down with John Kircher in the middle of the winter that winter and said, hey, if you want to do a recycling program, I bet you I can put one in here and save you some money. And he said, well, that'd be a great idea, but we don't do anything in the middle of the season. And I was like, okay, well then I'm gonna probably quit and I'll come see you in the summer. And he's like, you came into my office and told me you had a job that you had lots of extra time on, and you would rather quit than let me pay you to do a job that you didn't think was needed or you weren't working that hard on. It's like, great. So that summer he sat me down with Gene Ohm, Brian Wheeler, and Bill Neese, and we hammered out a deal to start recycling up here.
That's awesome. What recyclables do you pick up?
Well, we do everything from an old refrigerator. We do anything from appliances, cars, down to plastic bottles. We also do 25 different kinds of aluminum, probably 30 different kinds of copper, stainless steel, titanium. If it's a metal, there's a solid market for it. We do glass for some customers like Yellowstone Park and some of the pickup services. The glass is a very expensive item to recycle, so a lot of people choose not to do it. Aluminum cans, steel cans, of course, newspaper, magazines, office paper, and of course one of our favorite things is the big monster pile of shredded paper we have down at the warehouse. Everybody likes that in the tour.
Alright, on that note, where's this going to end up?
That normally would end up in China. That's #1 plastic, PETE, and it can be made into everything from a fleece for like Patagonia or Capilene long underwear, carpet backing on the back side of the carpet that holds it together. We ship a lot of it to Dalton, Georgia, where they make it into carpet backing. And what else do we do with plastic bottles? Those are the main uses. #2 plastics, which are like your milk jug. Those get made into a lot of bumpers and some high resin, heavier plastics to it. Right now, when the barrel of oil price is down, right now it's approximately $50 a barrel. Recycling plastics is a very economically challenging item to go ahead and do, but when the barrel of oil is over $65, more people will use recycled plastic, and when the barrel of oil is at $100, everybody's happy in the recycling world.
Alright.
Will you tell us the actual where it goes, like the transportation to get to China, A, and then B, if the barrel of oil is below 50, what does China do with it?
Oh, okay. So with the bottles is that when we bale up plastics, we bale up the 1 and 2 plastics together, and the 3 through 7 plastics we sort out. Then we bale it up and we ship it to either Tacoma or Salt Lake City, where they go ahead and separate out it into the different grades. And then it'll get shipped from there across the sea to China, where they'll reuse it there, or we'll ship, in the case of the #1 plastics, we'll ship that to Dalton, Georgia. So it gets touched many times to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And so when the barrel of oil price is at $50 a ton, then we have the virgin plastics are cheaper than you doing the recycling, the recycled plastics. The market will still buy them, but it'll buy them at a really low rate in order to keep the recycled content in there. But once the price goes up, recycling plastics will be more competitive in the marketplace than the virgin. So even people that don't care about having the recycled content will go ahead and use it because it makes more economic sense for them.
All right. Have you studied the final destination of aluminum cans, plastic bottles, and glass?
Well, glass is easy. Whenever we can use glass locally as an aggregate, as far as making French drains or wash rocks out of under a slab, we work with contractors to be able to do that. But the vast majority of the glass gets shipped down to Utah, where it goes to momentum recycling, where they have optical sorters, and that will go ahead and separate it out by the color. And it'll either go to Owens Corning to be made into fiberglass insulation, or it'll go back to Coors to be made beer bottles in. And then also we buy it back as sandblasting material. So when we're refurbishing our trucks and our bins, we're using the recycled glass to sandblast off the paint.
That's awesome.
The aluminum cans, they mainly go to Coors in Colorado. It's the closest large-scale bottling operation. Anheuser-Busch is right around the corner, and so most of the aluminum cans go there. And plastic bottles, we're already covered.
Yeah. How do you get paid?
We go ahead and operate on a basis is that when we're picking something up, we are charging approximately half or less of the price of garbage to pick up an item. We take it back to the facility, we compact it, we make the transportation efficient, and then we sell it on the other end. So when I go ahead and give a customer a bill for $100 for the month of picking up the recycling, that customer knows that they've saved at least $100 on their garbage bill.
Is the same method of recycling used worldwide?
No. No, is that Europe, for example, does a much better job of recycling more items that we do and have really high diversion rates because they have really high garbage rates, and they have a longer history of what waste does in their environment. But then you go into other parts of the world, like Africa, there's very little recycling because there isn't a lot of consumption. Here in the U.S. is that we consume something like 9.5 times the resources of the average person on the earth. So we have a lot more items that we're consuming, and recycling is essentially packaging in most respects. Our metal and our manufacturing is a byproduct of products, but the majority of the stuff we recycle are because we are a higher economic level that we can afford to drink bottled water versus getting water from a well or a tap.
What would you like to see improved or changed either in packaging, consumption, or recycling?
Oh, that's an easy one. There's a ton of packaging out there that isn't necessary. But as a marketing, that people want to go ahead and see the bright box. There's no reason in the world that there needs to be a box around a tube of toothpaste, for example. Our cereals, it goes into a box and then it goes into a bag. That box doesn't do any good for it, besides making it tidier in your cupboard. And these are all things that work against our bottom line, because when we stop at a house, all the costs of stopping to pick it up there, we want to pick up as much as we can at a time. But, glass bottles, to be able to go ahead and if we were to standardize the style of wine bottle, those could be shipped back and washed. The standard microbrew bottle that you have is Byron Brewing over in Missoula has a bottle washer, so we ship those bottles back to him where he washes them and refills them with beer. So that would be the biggest thing I'd say, is that to actually look at whether the product you're buying supports the value of how much packaging they include with it.
Alright. How do you like Earthship?
I think it's sweet. To be able to live off the grid at 7,000 feet here in Montana, growing your own food, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
and it's all byproducts, right? From the tires that if in Montana, most of the tires go to a monofill, where they're hoping that that barrel of oil will be at $100 a ton again, so that it'll make sense to crumb the rubber and reuse it. So be able to use it for structure and retaining heat versus using our fossil fuels to heat a house. That's awesome.
And then one more question. Can you beat me at a game of recycling basketball?
I'll give it a shot.
All right. I'll be right back. So the basketball is going to be horse, and let me get a few rules just so nobody's confused. So we're gonna have Dave here start, and if he makes it and then I make it, it's still his turn until he misses. If it's your last letter, you get 2 tries to make it. And yeah, that should be it. It's close.
Whew.
Behind the back shot. Shot.
We're a bunch of aces. I don't know if we should be playing horse or maybe playing pig the way that we're shooting.
Alright, I'm gonna say. Ooh, off the bank.
Oh,
Ooh.
that means you got an H. That was flat-footed, just so you're on the H-O.
Come on. No! Like 4? Okay. My chance to bring it back. Alright, just gonna go for it.
Okay, a little bit deeper.
Oh. No! How are you making these?
So this is
H-O-R.
S? That was your S,
This
I
one,
think.
this.
So that means you get 2 chances. Is that right?
Yeah. No!
Nice game.
Oh my gosh. Alright, so the interview with Dave was really fun. Just whooped me in basketball with a recycling bottle. And hope we'll see you guys next time. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye.